First stop of the day, Maverick, to pick up a special delivery. If I can reach him, my tall friend put these bushings. Hope that didn't scuff it up too bad. He put these bushings he picked them up in Idaho. He picked them up in Idaho yesterday. Maybe I shouldn't film. And said he was coming through late last night. He goes, I'll leave him down in town so I don't have to drive out to your place. Out in the country out there. So I have these waterproof bushings. I actually had those in hand yesterday myself, because that's what the electrician guy at Lowe's told me to get, but I was like, that doesn't seem right, because my electrician friend didn't mention it. So I'm gonna stop here while I'm here and grab a little breakfast, I guess. That looks good. One other quick thing is the roof is complete, I believe. He was putting the peak on this morning with the foam vent system. And see if this ladder's going. Yep. So we are dried in. So we're gonna have not drywall. We're gonna have insulation blown in the walls next week. So we're trying to hustle to button up all our little projects in the outside walls. We'll hang insulation on the inner walls for sound proofing. Not proofing, but whatever. So what I'm doing here is screwing these waterproof bushings onto this displacement deal. Actually, I wonder if they go on the inside. Anyway, so I'm gonna try that out and see how it works. Assuming I put it together correctly. It's weird because in my other video I said I think I alternated between, on the diagram from the power company, they wanted 2 1/8, and I kept saying 1 1/8, but this would be, 3 or 4 inches. Assuming the panel comes on here. And when I measured this, I measured it to be this gap, and I drilled this hole based on that gap. Dadgummit. That's gonna push me. I hope it doesn't push me to the stud when I put this panel on, but I'm gonna have to close up this hole and put a new hole in. Seems like every time I take a step forward, I take a step back. In more preparation with this breaker panel that I'm making my disconnect. I did put the bonding screw in. I need to tighten it a little more. Electrician told me to do this to prep this panel as a disconnect. So I did change out the clamp, and I put this plastic pipe fitting in here that extends out the back, and that'll go through that 3-inch hole in my wall over there after I re-drill it, apparently. I put that lock bushing on there to hold it, and because this is a plastic bushing, when I come in and bend that thick wire up into here, it'll be protected. And then I'm gonna come in and send a hot and a hot here from my wire coming from my main breaker panel out here. I'll ground here, and I added this to the ground bar, this lug, by removing 2 screws and then putting this in with the screw below this, and then I'll slip in here. And then I'm gonna run my 4th wire, my neutral, up and I will tie into either one of these neutral spots. And then I will take lengths of wire. I'm assuming this is my responsibility to tie it to the meter. I will cut some lengths of my 4/0 wire to plug in hot, neutral, ground, and run those through here and then through this. Through this guy. And I will tie those in here. Hot, neutral. And I don't know if I tie my ground into this or not. Doesn't look like it. Maybe I leave the ground out. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask. I may wait to do all that wire tying the two panels together until I have an electrician friend here to help me with that. The other thing real quick is my son Matthew did all the metal plating through the whole house. He said he finished all the exterior walls, which was a priority so they could blow the insulation in. And then I wonder if he did the garage. I'll bet he didn't. So today's Saturday, he'll have to come back over and finish that. Or maybe I'll do it for him. Oh, he did it. Look at that. What a champ. That was crazy. There's a hummingbird just hanging out right here and then just spun around me. I don't know what it was interested in. That's we haven't seen many hummingbirds up here this year. We didn't know if because it's such a long winter and wet spring and wet summer, but all right, back to this. All right, after putting this guy up and dry fitting it, the displacement will be right there, just kind of angled up slightly and back. And then the new hole will be right here. There. All right, so I put blocking in for the disconnect panel. I put that in and screwed the meter panel into that. And I'll re-drill, from the outside, I'll drill through this block to slip my panel into. And this gray wire will go in there. And then I'll drill through this from the hole outside for my internet conduit, and I'll stick that in there and I'll clamp it to that board. Clamp both to their respective blocks. And then this block is for the top screws of that disconnect panel. And then I'll glue and caulk. I'll show you from the outside. All right, so here we are. So I'm just gonna take these discs here that I drilled out, clean them up a little bit. I'm gonna caulk and glue these in to fill this hole. First I'll caulk, then I'll put them in, then I'll caulk some more. Just really get it gooped up. And then from the inside, once I mount this panel, I'll stick a bunch of this duct sealing compound in around this. I'll put some caulk on the outside, and then I'll put some caulk and foam from the inside as well. So this will all just be sealed up tight. And if you remember when I put in my screws here, anywhere I went into the house, I put that duct sealing compound so that it was in the house and it was in here. And I think just for added measure, I might throw some caulk up above, down the road sometime. So. Anyway, that's what I'm up to. Re-drill this hole too for my conduit. All right, so I've got that caulked and patched. And then I've got that re-drilled for the conduit for the internet, and then we'll pop this all into place and get her mounted on. View from the inside. So I think it looks good. Let's get this mounted. Come on. Should be the easiest part. Spins on. Doesn't want to go. Hopefully when I dropped it at Maverick, it didn't damage the threads. Doesn't want to go on. Alright, let's put these screws in. Plastic bushing is in the way somehow. There we go. Okay, those panels are affixed. Now I'm gonna go in and feed the tubing through and then seal around them with that duct putty. I'll pack it in and then I'm gonna caulk and foam from the inside so everything's locked in. Last quick thing I did is I added those grounding bushings that'll run that grounding wire through as I move it through here and then send it out to my grounding rod. I'm not sure exactly how. That's the one dynamic I can't remember exactly from the electrician. So, because it was something that seemingly he uniquely did. So, if I don't have to do it, I'll just take those off, I guess. But when it comes time to it, I'll show you that. Oh, I need to put this bonding screw in too. Lock it down. There's a certain, what do you call it? Pounds. So you have to measure 35-inch pounds when you lock this down. So I have a ratchet that does that, but not a screwdriver of any kind. So I'll have to look into that. All right, those are in place and bracketed or clamped down. I haven't figured out how to clamp down that internet wire. I didn't want to crisscross them, but when the hole shifted, anyway, it is what it is. I'm gonna putty that in and caulk it up real good and then foam seal both holes. All right, so I've got this out and caulked. I'll clip that off with some pipe cutter so it has a cleaner cut. And then I think they mount a box with the internet cable. It's coming from there, and then the power will come in. And I've got to guesstimate where this will come up to right here and cut it with my, I'll use a Sawzall with a metal cutting blade just to zip through that. That's the nervous part. $700 cable, just cutting it right. All right, so I've cut the wires, and although I'm 99% sure they go in at the bottom, I cut them so they could go in at the top, and then I want to ask somebody one more time before I cut $700 worth of wire. I have to run it all over again. And then I have a 4-foot piece left over that will run through here and up into theirs. And that one, I want to double check that I'm going in the bottom and not the top again. So otherwise it's locked down. And then I've been working on the other end of things. Showing you this in my other videos. I brought that in there and anchored it to a board, brought it in, clamped it in, and cut it to go into my ports here. And then this guy, the internet conduit, I brought up, and I've got it anchored back there behind the tub wall. And then I'm gonna get a couple more clamps and put them in there just to make sure it's absolutely good. Nail them in. I ran out. That was my last one. And this will stub out, drywall will go over, and then the internet company will come in and put their box there, and we'll probably have a shelf with our router there. And I have not decided. I wasn't going to, because all we ran was wireless in my other house. I ran Cat 5 and Cat 6, or Cat 5 everywhere, and put jacks everywhere, and it was a tedious process, like between 500 and 1,000 feet of wire. And then we never used the jacks. We just used wireless. Stream everything. Stream ton. My wife loves movies, and no problem. We're not gamers, so I don't need that kind of system or hardware, but hard wiring. But a friend who works for the company, power company, was like, put in your jacks, you're gonna regret it. And I was like, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna run and put in all my jacks. I don't think I am. I think we'll just go wireless. Crawling around up in here. Using we borrowed from the electrician that's been helping me, a wire stapling gun, a DeWalt. And so he's carefully stapling wires down in twos as he goes through every 4 feet or so. So he's taking care of that business. It's just an odds and ends day as I get ready. So I made the second cut. I measured them all, and now I'm gonna attempt to wrestle them up into place. I need to loosen up this clamp. I shouldn't have stapled these on yet. I can back them out because they're just nails, but that way I have some bend and flex. I can get it up in there and pop them into place. So I may have to do that. But I'll cut these and trim around here, and then hopefully get these up into place after putting some this antioxidant joint compound on there, since it's aluminum wire. Well, I have to wait a bit. My wife's bringing me a 5/8 Allen wrench. Can't find mine in my trailer. Looks good. Looks like a brand new door. What kind of wood is this?
She said it was alder, but I almost wonder if it's mahogany because it looks more like mahogany.
tagging. Cool. All right, a real mix of jobs today. We've got a whole list to do before drywall, so we've got about 8 days left, and we just have all these things we're trying to get done. Some of this carries over after drywall, or is completely after drywall, but anyway, I started fiddling with this, got these cut so that they could go into place. But then when I cut this with a Sawzall, it was all fraying out. And someone suggested I put in a ground bar with a oversized lug or a larger lug and pop that guy in it. So I don't know. I'll have to get an electrician and ask him what to do. I have to leave tomorrow for a week, and I'll come back and take care of that. So here at the end of the day, we've been here about 12 hours or longer than that, 13 hours, 14. I ran 2 sprinkler lines. One goes down and over so I can kick it out the west side, or the west side. The other one goes down and over so I can kick it out the east side, so I can have valve boxes on both sides of the house if I want. If I don't want 2 valve boxes, I'll just leave the extra line coiled up in there and the extra line coiled in the corner and just run this. Each line has 7 wires in it, so one should be enough, but if I want to run more, I have the option. And I just pegged it out right here, so I'll put my control panel right there and be able to plug it into that new outlet that I made out of the cove heaters. I also framed in an attic entry and then built kind of decking around it so that when you go up and in, if you have tools and you need to set them there, you can. I'm not going to store stuff up there. We tried that in my shop over there, and carrying stuff up and down this ladder is ridiculous. So it's mainly just to set tools out in case you need to do anything up there. I need to finish framing some edging so you can set a lid in it and poke it out around the base for the drywall and stuff like that. But the heavy work is done. What else did we do? Matt climbed all through and stapled everything, and then I went through and stapled 12 inches from the top wherever I could. There's a few lines that I couldn't because I didn't have enough room. I didn't get to installing the vent fans. I wasn't able to ever get a 4 1/4 inch drill to drill our duct, but I marked it all out and it's ready just to go. I went through and picked up all the wire scraps and little things just when I needed a break of mindless stuff. Oh, I did wire the doorbell. Popped it out here and leave the wires hanging there. Ran the wiring up here and over and into a box that'll mount the doorbell onto. And then I'm just gonna kick power up there. And I think I'm gonna put a metal junction box in the attic with the transformer so I can just drop the wires in here. I might run that junction box back over here so it has easier access on this catwalk or rat run or whatever you want to call it. In fact, I probably will do that. I also, when we were at Home Depot the other day, we bought a right swing door. So I had to move all this wiring over to here. That's the closest we could get it. I can't put it in that wall because the hearth will be here for the wood burning stove. But I was one length of wire short. This one, I was 8 inches shy of what. That was my last decent long run of wire. My wife went to buy 12-2 and she bought me outdoor, which has, I don't really know how to separate those different individual strands. I never did get back to that panel. I left the wires up in there. I really think I'm gonna wait for an electrician. All that foam I put in there. I didn't realize that stuff would expand that much. I guess I should have known. All foam expands a lot, but that stuff really went crazy. So, that stuff is locked in. Anyway, this might be a boring video, but it's kind of instructive that as you kind of get down to handing over things to the insulation and drywall guys, you're just like, all right, I gotta button this up. I gotta install this. Like, because once the walls close up, you're just kind of like, all right. So we're starting to almost shift our minds towards the finished stuff, like flooring and cabinetry and paint, and we got to get to the siding on the outside. This wiring is never ending. So, and she's still hard at work on that door. She's doing the other side now. Looks really good. So, that's it. Oh, Matt continued putting those metal plates up too. I think I talked about that earlier in the day. It's been 13 or 14 hours today, so that's all the wire we have left, just scrap wire. And some stuff I had to pull out when I pulled out these coves and a few other things that's just like 3 and 4 foot sections. So 3,700 feet of wire, and that's the leftovers. We're almost to drywall. But I'm gone for a week.